Chad Brendel here with the Cincinnati Bearcat football sensei, Mr. Tim Adams, here at Camp Higher Ground. And Tim, day 3 in the books today, helmets and shoulder pads, so a little bit more physical than it had been the previous 2 days.
I think it was a lot more physical today than the last 2 days because they did have the shoulder pads on, and the big guys could kind of go after each other once they've got the shoulder pads on, and we saw a lot more of that today.
Overall, a lot of talk about the quarterback race. They say it's an open competition. Does it look to you like they're close, or does it look to you like there's somebody that maybe is already standing out from the pack?
To be perfectly honest, I fully expect Gunnar Keel to be the starting quarterback. I think most everybody else does too. And that's not saying that it'll happen. Last year I thought Brandon Kay would be the hands-down guy that would get the job. But we had some injuries that played into Kay not having it. And, I think when, was it September 12th, I think Gunnar Keel will be the guy that will be under center, unless somebody just really blows the doors off here.
And how do you think overall Keel has looked these first 3 days?
I think he's looked pretty good. I mean, he's had a couple picks the last couple of days. We talked to Coach Tuberville. He said he's not too concerned about that right now because the defense is doing a little bit more than what they're expecting. And I agree with that on the team side of things. The picks that I don't like to see are the one-and-done because I think that is heavily in the offensive favor. And if they're throwing in and they're getting rushed and they don't know what defense, and you've got 11 guys out there, they're trying to find a throwing lane, I think it's more understandable to throw interceptions, and that's where his 1 or 2 interceptions have come in team drills, not in any one-and-ones type drills.
And you talk about the interceptions as you reported the first couple days, and I'm sure you'll talk about in your practice report today. And we talked with Coach Tuberville. You got to give the defensive backs a lot of credit for the way that they have stepped up to the challenge. You've talked a lot about the wide receiver group being the most talented you've ever seen at Cincinnati. When you see them on the field, they jump off the page. I mean, their athleticism, their hands. These defensive backs have not backed down. They've accepted the challenge that they know they're going against a really good group, and they're not backing down at all.
Oh yeah, Howard Wilder's like one of those little monkeys, you know. I mean, whenever Chris Moore goes out, he's like all over him. I mean, you would think they were doing some sort of a new type of dance because he's right there in his job, more or less. But yeah, the defense is very happy with today's practice. They felt like they won the third downs today, which is huge for them to get off the field in third down. I think the 2 starting cornerbacks have been very good. They're not very big, but they're quite physical, and they're going against a good group today. And those 2 sophomore safeties are outstanding. Zach Edwards may not be the fastest, the biggest, strongest guy around, but he's in the right place. And Mike Tyson had an interception today. And then they've got some young guys behind them that they really like. Lyndon Stevens is one of them. J.J. Pinkney's a 6'3" corner. He needs to fill in. Alex Thomas, they love his quickness and his speed. We've seen a couple of walk-ons get a chance to. Grant Coleman's an excellent walk-on. And John James is another guy who transferred in, who was originally committed, I think maybe signed with Toledo, who's getting some number 2 reps. So I think they've got some depth in that defensive backfield, and right now the defense is real happy with it. So.
You've been out to a lot of these things, probably more than you want to admit.
10 or 11.
Overall, how do you think they're stacking up so far in comparison to other camps that you've seen early? Obviously, you know more when they go full pads and full contact, but at least early, how do you think this group is stacking up from a size, speed, personnel standpoint from the groups you've seen in the past?
I think they've got a good number of playmakers on both sides of the football. Would probably be the one thing I've seen differently. It used to be, I think, when we come out here, there maybe wasn't quite as much depth at some of the spots, and maybe not as many playmakers. But here offensively, I think you've got some playmakers at the receiver spot. We haven't seen a lot of the running backs, and won't really know until we get in gear. Those guys have to break some tackles and make people miss. You can't really tell right now with them. But I think they've got some depth at quarterback. Defensively, I think they've got some good defensive ends. The tackles are better than I think we thought coming into camp. The linebackers group is very good. I think they're very happy with that group, and we've talked about the defensive backs. So I think overall depth, and the place kicking's been good. The punting was better today, which was a big plus after being very, very poor yesterday.
All right, well, I'm sure everybody will be looking forward to your continuous practice reports every day that the Bearcats take the field, either here or for a scrimmage at Paul Brown Stadium. You can come to Bearcat Journal. You can get a practice report from Tim Adams, also player features. What do you and Sam have coming up?
Let's see, Sam had Zach Edwards,
yes.
And I had Chris Burton today. So those stories will be upcoming in the next 24 hours.
Also video from Tommy Tuberville today. So 4 pieces of content here from Bearcat Journal. Make sure you tune in. We'll be up here at Higher Ground the entire time the Bearcats are here. He's Tim Adams. I'm Chad Brendel for Bearcat Journal.
All righty, fella.